First, let's follow up on last show's questions that required a follow-up.
Sure.
Who empties the garbage on Kent Street in Lindsay, and how do we ensure this gets done all the time?
Well, that was a good question, actually. And we did some homework and we found out Miller Waste, who collects our garbage across the city, usually picks up in the downtown twice a week, in the downtown areas twice a week to make sure the cans are empty. The BIA also has contractors who keep an eye on the garbage, and they don't regularly empty it. But if they notice that cans are overflowing in between those pickup dates from Miller, then they will go out and empty them. They've told me, the BIA has it. They've also had store owners who have gone out and dumped a big bag of garbage into so of course it's overflowing type of idea. My suggestion would be, if you have a garbage container in the downtown business, or you see one that's overflowing, especially in Lindsay, contact the BIA. Either they'll let you know when Miller's picking it up, or they'll get hold of their contractor to, all our goal is to keep the downtown as tidy as possible.
And there's the kawarthalakes.ca/report it.
Yep. You can report it there, or give your BIA looks after your downtown for a reason. You can report it to there, and if Miller's just going to tell you that they'll be there on Friday to pick it up, but if it's Wednesday, and there's a problem in an area, then that's why the BIA has some of these contractors to look after it on a daily basis. So between the two of them, we should be able to keep our downtowns pretty tidy.
Great. One of our readers last time questioned the shabby service club signs at the south entrance to Lindsay in particular.
Yeah.
That was in rough shape, and I think you looked into that.
We did. They are owned by the city. Our economic development department has it on their work plan for next year to have a look at these signs, and they've got a bit of a budget to either fix them up, remove them, replace them, but we're going to clean up those signs. That's in the work plan for next year.
Great, super. There's also a childcare question. Why are people who don't work receiving subsidized childcare?
Yep, some do. It just depends on their situation, whether it's a disability or whether they're on an Ontario Works program. There is some subsidies that are available for childcare. It's provincial money. It flows through our staff, implement the program, but there's a very strict contingent that they have to follow, a strict list of rules in order to get that subsidized daycare. But if they meet that criteria, then there is a program available for subsidies for folks who are not necessarily working at the time.
So it could involve a child's special needs, parents pursuing training, retraining.
That's right. Yeah, it can involve, there's a wide variety of criteria, and if they meet those criteria or several out of the criteria, then they qualify. It's not a permanent thing, it's a temporary thing so if they're getting some training till they get back on their feet, if they have a disability temporarily, it can be subsidized. So there's a few different areas where it can be subsidized for a short period of time, but that's a program that is available, and it is those provincial flow-through dollars.
Okay. Rhonda would like to know when parking on Kent Street will become parallel parking as in all normal urban areas, as she calls it.
Rhonda's, she's from my heart. We're not going to have parallel parking in our downtown. Our new downtown revitalization in Lindsay is being worked on right now. Next year it's going to start in full force at the east end of Kent Street, and the downtown and all the stakeholders and the public have overwhelmingly asked that the angled parking remain.
But personally,
I like the parallel parking. I think we could have done a lot with our downtown. I honestly feel we missed the boat a little bit. You can't do bike lanes. You can't do cycling downtown with angle parking. I mean, you take your life in your hands. They can't see you behind the cars. We're trying to build a downtown for the next 50 years. And sometimes I think we looked at what works for us today. We didn't look enough farther down the road and said, things are going to change. How's the community going to be different? They're going to be smaller cars. They're going to be more people using active transportation, bikes, pedestrian. I think we could have done some things a little differently. It's just my opinion. They had a very public process, and the stakeholders and, like I say, the overwhelming majority of the public they didn't want to lose parking in their downtown. That was vital to the businesses. We have been able to widen the sidewalks a little bit. The median was an idea they had in the downtown to sort of separate it, make it a little bit more friendly. They chose not to go with that. So it'll be beautiful. I mean, we're going to spend a lot of money there. It'll be good bump outs for pedestrian walkways to make them more pedestrian friendly. It'll be gorgeous when it's done. It's going to be angle parking. So I don't foresee any parallel parking in the near future. So they won't have to practice their parallel parking skills in downtown Lindsay for quite a while.
So this was basically a majority rules kind of thing. You wanted to listen to the public.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We did an EA process, and from 2013 till just last year, public meetings, public input, and met with all the different groups that utilize the downtown and, different interest groups. And that's the model they came up with that they wanted right now.
All right. Lori would like to know why we can't have more rental homes in Fenelon Falls.
More rental homes?
Yeah.
Well, rental homes are up to, it's kind of a private decision from somebody who buys a house. If houses are affordably priced, then sometimes people will buy them and rent them out rather than wanting to live in them to generate some revenue. One of the problems I know Canada-wide, province-wide with rental homes is, there's so much strict criteria on rights for a renter and not so much for a landlord. That if somebody doesn't pay their rent, there's a whole process to get that person out of their rental home, that many people I've talked to who used to buy homes to rent them out for people are now not doing it, because if they have a problem tenant, they can't get rid of that tenant. They can't get them out of their building. So the Tenancies Act, or, I'm not sure what the right terms for it are, have totally swayed, in my opinion, over to the renter to try to get them some protection, and rightly so to a certain extent, but they've gone so far over that people who used to buy homes and rent them out are no longer saying it's not worth my while to do that anymore. So that is part of the problem. We've been talking to the province and the federal government about, trying to relax some of those and find that happy medium, because it's important for people. Not everybody can afford to buy a home.
All right. In the minute we have left, Patricia asks, what specifically is being done to bring more jobs to town?
What specifically is being done? Great question. I'll go back to my earlier comments about, what this council has decided in the last couple of weeks to change the development charges bylaw that we're bringing forward in 2020. We had considerable rates on a business that wanted to expand or a new business that wanted to relocate here and build, whether it's industrial or commercial. We heard from our economic development department that was an impediment for some small businesses to grow and expand who want to hire people. So we as a council have decided for the next 2 years we're going to exempt those charges, and that should allow people who have been thinking about growing and expanding their job base to do that. And so we're hoping that's a big positive step forward.
Hopefully that'll do it.